realm, The Price of Beauty. This came with a link. Let's check it out. Looks like it's a YouTube video. Let's watch it, and then we'll discuss.
We kidnapping 4 Americans in Mexico. 2 of them are safely back on U.S. soil. The other 2 are dead. The victims were found in a rural area east of the northern Mexico border city of Matamoros. The other 2 survivors were returned to the U.S. Tuesday. Mexican officials say one of them was injured. Omar Villafranca is in Brownsville, Texas, with the latest.
2 Americans who survived being caught shootout and kidnapped by cartel gunmen were taken to a hospital in Brownsville, Texas today. Mexican authorities found Latavia McGee and Eric Williams at a stash house outside the city of Matamoros after gunmen moved them to multiple locations to avoid capture. It was the end of a road trip for cosmetic surgery. McGee, Williams, along with their close friends Shahid Woodard and Zindell Brown, traveled last week from South Carolina to Matamoros so McGee could have cosmetic surgery. This video shows the moment when they were kidnapped at gunpoint after being caught in a shootout between rival cartel gangs. Here you see McGee being forced into the back of a pickup truck by armed men, with others who appear hurt, also dragged and loaded onto the truck bed. Woodard and Brown were killed. Traveling abroad for medicine and medical procedures is common. More than 1 million Americans traveled to Mexico for health tourism last year, spending about $250 million. 38-year-old Williams, a husband and father, was shot in the leg but is expected to survive. We talked to his wife, Michelle, moments ago from North Carolina. She didn't want to show her face, but says she talked to her husband today.
Did he tell you anything about that moment at all?
No, we didn't discuss it because it was to hear his voice. It was just a lot of crying. My son was there, and my son just wanted to hear his voice. And then he had to go because he was going into the hospital.
CBS News has learned that McGee had been to Mexico before for cosmetic surgery. Investigators are blaming the Gulf Cartel for this incident, and Mexican authorities have also announced that a 24-year-old has been arrested in connection with this attack. John?
Omar, is there any word on the recovery of the deceased victims and bringing them back to the United States?
That's going to be a government process. We're trying to figure out exactly the timetable for it, but when there's deceased in one country, moving it back to the U.S., and obviously there's going to be some machinations involved, that will take some time, but we're expecting it to be soon.
And how are people reacting to this incident on the U.S. side of the border?
Well, some of them aren't really surprised. As a matter of fact, we had a pastor tell us that there are kidnappings, hundreds of kidnappings on the Mexican side all the time, but they're usually Mexican nationals, and it doesn't get the attention of the American media. So it's one of those things where they're aware that it happens, but the people here in Brownsville who cross over into Matamoros, many do it daily. They either work over there or they go eat over there and shop daily. They're not worried about what happened there.
Omar Villafranca in Brownsville, Texas. Thank you, Omar.
Man reporting live from a bird's nest, apparently. Yeah, I kind of avoided this story, not intentionally. I kind of saw the headlines and stuff and heard some people making some comments. I didn't really follow it closely. Even in this story, I was kind of distracted by it. So, Carl, are you familiar with this full story? Can you shed some personal light on it?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the whole story. Yeah, I remember hearing about this situation. So the young man, this one thing. Let me say this: Matamoros is Spanish for the moor killer. So yeah, just a little side story behind that. That's what that means. This means the moor killer. But yeah, overall, the whole medical tourism thing, because the prices for medical procedures in the U.S. are just so outrageous that it's kind of hard to people to afford going to a regular doctor, and people are really struggling with trying to make ends meet. I'm outside, you guys. I'm sorry for the wind. But yeah, people are just struggling to make ends meet, and they go over to Mexico and Dominican Republic and things like that to be able to afford medical procedures and other things like that. So, and apparently, I thought they were part of a Haitian gang. I didn't know there were Haitian gangs operating in Mexico. But one thing I will say the story didn't mention is that the cartel turned over the killers to the government for punishment.
And
So the
apologize too,
Mexican,
right?
yeah, and apologize. And the Mexicans have more accountability than the American police. So take from that what you will. So I'll stop there. I'll let the next person take it.
All right, Azuli came back. Azuli, were you familiar with this story?
Hold on, before Azuli goes, I want to ask Azuli, how you ain't shout out Cap? Just anyway, that's it. He didn't even interrupt Carl at once. You saw that, right?
Hey, what?
The man said you didn't interrupt Carl not one time.
I was about to, but I said nah.
Anyway, Azuli, were you familiar with this story?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm waiting to see. I thought that was like a hit, an insurance hit. How the two men got killed and the women came back? I don't know. So, to me, this is another situation where go to the gym, go work out your features, go eat properly. Why are you going over there for? And I get what Brother Carr said. It's like it's cheaper. Yes, I get it. But if you go in there for cosmetic surgery, come on. And you're the men. How are the men letting their women allow them to go do surgery like that? Take your wife to the gym. Go for a walk. Go play tennis. What is going on? Eat different food. Why are you letting your wife lead you to Mexico? Like, this is crazy. I blame the men for all of this. I blame the men. I don't blame if I had a wife or you think I'm gonna travel to Mexico with you to go get surgery? The moment you go out at that point, I already have the divorce papers waiting for you when you come back, if you come back. How does a man let his wife go get surgery? What? In a country where and it's the two men that died, Coco?
It was 3 men, and 2 of them died.
To me, that sounded like a hit to me. I don't know, but that sounds funny style to me. How you kill someone? I don't understand how you go get surgery and 2 people ended up dying. So I don't know what these men thought. So the cartel turned them over. Like, why are you killing these? I think there's something more to it. But if I'm gonna comment just about what I've been told, bro, don't let your wife lead you. Now this woman for her surgery, 2 men died. Her surgery,
Check this out. None of them was her husband.
So who are these men?
Exactly. BANs. That's it.
You see, at the end of the day, there's something fishy about that story. But if we take it at face value, bro, 3 men went somewhere together. Why are you going there? If it's a sketchy place, aren't you a man? Aren't you supposed to protect women? Nah, we're not doing this. Save your money, go get the surgery in Miami or somewhere else. There's something fishy about that story. But if we take it at face value, these men were failures. That's all I say. I think that's terrible. Like, and whatever features God gave you, go to the gym and accentuate them, if that's the word. That's all I have to say. I'll yield the mic.
I appreciate that. Brother Bakari has returned. Bakari, were you familiar with this story?
Yeah, I had heard something. I heard a little bit about it. Black people getting killed in Mexico. I don't know. They say it was going for cosmetic surgery. I don't know. I don't know if it was no hit. It don't sound fishy to me. I know a lot of black people think they're loved in Mexico. One of my best friends, whose wife had to go over to her company, sent her over there for 3 months, and they brag on how Mexicans love black people in Mexico. So might have just been going for cosmetic surgery and got caught up and happened to get caught up because you can just go, you can actually go on YouTube and you can find people bragging on how much love and respect that they get in Mexico. Mexicans not race. The Mexicans in Mexico is not racist. The Mexicans in Mexico is not racist toward black people. They love black people in Mexico and so on and so forth and yada yada yada. I don't know what they were doing, but going to get cosmetic surgery could have been it. Brownsville, Texas, where the part of he said the part of Texas that's a border town. The part of Mexico was a border town, and this Mexican I was talking to this Mexican the other day, and he was talking about Gaspar Yanga. He didn't know who Gaspar Yanga was, and he had heard of, but he did know about Afro-Mexicans. His wife was actually an Afro-Mexican. And what he said was he suggests if black people go to Mexico, stay away from the border towns. There's a lot of cartel, and there's and there's a probability of you being kidnapped because they think you might have some money coming into Mexico. They say you don't hang out at the border towns. I'm just saying what a couple of Mexicans told me. So I'm not looking. I understand we are gonna find the conspiracy and everything. But me, truly, just from hearing black people talk about how they think they can go to Mexico and do whatever in Mexico because they think Mexicans in Mexico love them. I don't see a conspiracy in it. I just think it's just wrong place, wrong time. I hear Mike.
I appreciate that, Bakari. Thanks for coming back. Trigger Happy 262 pointed out, Lero pointed this out earlier as well. Apparently they got confused as Haitians as well. So there's that. Yeah, I heard people talking about that Haitian aspect, and again, because I didn't follow the story, I didn't really follow what they were trying to say. Lero says they could have been killed by some Mexicans, but I don't believe it was a cartel. The U.S. trying to manufacture consent to bring their military into Mexico. That's an interesting thing. Israel tends to do that type of shit too.
Okay, can I say something about that right quick? Then I'm done. Can I say something about that comment?
Yeah.
The U.S. don't need consent to take their military nowhere. The U.S. just can just take their military over there and blow up Mexico their ass up, and Mexico gonna bow their ass down. Hate to say it like that, but they're just a fact. They ain't never needed a reason to do anything. These white folks ain't never needed no special reason to go do some shit. They just go do it. You got some I want, so I would take it. It may have been cartel because I believe the U.S. and according to a lot of stuff that came out, work with the damn cartels. So they might know which cartel did it and they told them cartels they messed up because they work with the cartels. That's my take.
Oh, Bakari, if I could add something to that, when they say manufacturing consent, I'm not so much for the military because you're right, they do what they want to do, but I think it's manufacturing consent from the American public, from the overall public of the United States. You know, we've had throughout American history, they've had false flag attacks to kind of motivate the people to support war, and I think that might be kind of what they're saying, but it's black people that kill. Americans on the whole don't really care about black people getting killed overseas. So if they're trying to use black people getting killed to manufacture consent, they're barking at the wrong tree. I don't think they really care overall.
I'll also say that this white boy has a tendency to create this like theater where it seems like we were pulled into this confrontation and all that kind of stuff. It becomes more palatable, I guess, to the children that they create, meaning they make all people in the West like children, right? And so it's more palatable to like the children that they're creating and maintaining to say, oh, look, we were pulled into this. We didn't start this or whatever. So they've done that in the Congo. They've done that all throughout Africa, right? Go and do heinous acts, right? While acting and pretending to be benevolent groups to begin with. Carl and I covered that book, King Leopold's Ghost, that talks a lot about that too, you know. They have the might. They could just go in and, like you said, Bakari, and do whatever. But they have this thing where they try to convince the world and make it look justified and all this kind of thing. Maybe Buana might want to talk about that a little bit in his response. Buana, what say you?
Yeah, so I wanna put a little bit of an international twist to this because there's a lot of things going on and a lot of things that the media is not saying, but I tend to lean towards Zuli. in his conspiratorial kind of explanation of what's going on. Because I am thinking, which Negro in the history of the world is just go to another place with a black woman to get a Brazilian butt lift? In any event, she gonna go with her girl. She's not gonna go with three dudes. I am under the suspicion that them dudes went with her to Mexico to get some cocaine while they was with homegirl. That situation went wrong. And I think that because the situation went wrong, two fellas end up dead in a drug deal. This is my suspicion. Okay? That's first. Second, see, when they say that the Mexican cartels was confused about them being Haitian or not, what they are not saying in the story is, first of all, they wouldn't be confused because there are many Haitians in Mexico and other South American countries. See, a lot of people don't know is many Haitians speak Spanish. Zuli, you could tell me if I'm wrong or not about this. Many Haitians not only speak Creole and French, they speak Spanish. Dominican Republica is right next to Haiti. Many of them learn Spanish.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Many of them.
when they would have gone to Mexico, the communication alone would have tell them, well, these guys ain't from around here. They don't speak the language, and they don't look like Haitians, because they wear, some flowery shirts and pink shoes. But that's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? They would have just say, well, these guys are obviously they ain't from here or whatever. They ain't Haitians. These people are, and they have an American accent. Obviously, they're from the United States. You know what I mean? I would have thought they would have ransomed them. But I also do know that the cartels know that if they try to ransom it, they would have a bigger problem with the American government, the military coming in and extracting them and messing up their drug operation. So they don't want that kind of drama. So they say, well, these guys are American citizens. We're ready to do some damage. We're gonna get them out of here and apologize. That's beyond the gate, because they don't want that energy. They don't want to ruin that drug operation. But I believe that them brothers going down there with the intention of getting cocaine. I really believe that. You know what I mean? Because I don't buy the story that they just went with her. Because she already went before. She know where this place is. So why you have to have three dudes that assist you to go down to Mexico? Give me a break. But that's not being said in the story. So I think I tend to lean towards a Zulu conspiratory nature because there are some outside things that the news media does not necessarily mention. But in terms of the price of beauty, I agree with Rizuli as well. That's a surprise. But I do believe that, if you want to look better, you should eat better, you should exercise more, and do things to improve the way you look and feel. What's this deal? Because Carl talked about health. This wasn't a matter of health and less paying less in terms of going to third world doctors. This was cosmetic. She was just simply trying to beautify. I want to look good. I want to look like Kardashian. So for me, this is an unnecessary expense as opposed to the typical, going for serious medical concerns and medical reasons. If I'm just going to Mexico to increase the size of my breast or make me have a bigger booty, then I don't really feel as sorry for that situation because, what I mean? Go to the gym. Go take step class. Take step class. So I see this particular situation differently. I maybe it's conspiratory, but I think that there's some outside things that the media is not necessarily commenting on. I'll stop there.
Can I ask a question right quick?
Go ahead, Bakari.
Every time a black person get killed, we search for a conspiracy. They kneel on George Floyd neck, or we say they ain't dead. Why can't it just be motherfuckers don't like black folks and it's time for black folks to stand up and fight back? Why we always got to find a conspiracy? And every time we find a conspiracy, it's always that black person done something wrong for them to get killed every goddamn time. And y'all wonder why people keep killing us and keep doing the stuff they doing. Every
Brother Bakari,
time for the conspiracy.
Brother Bakari, is it far fetched? Am I being far fetched to say that in Mexico drug operations is going on. I might be being far fetched to say that.
No, you're not being far fetched to say that,
Hold on,
but to
hold on,
make
hold
it
on. Stop this. So, hold on. Give me a minute. Am I being far fetched to say that there is an underground drug economy that's happening in the United States among us? If we being honest, am I being far fetched to say that?
no, you're not being far fetched.
So for me to say, for me to believe, understanding what the culture is right now, with all us, even in the Caribbean too, because I know brothers who used to fly to Colombia, you know what I mean, to get them packages. So I know that there is a legitimate situation going on cross borders between Mexico and the brothers who trying to create economies for themselves. I ain't trying to lambaste the but I really ain't trying to do that.
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying that there's another side to the conversation. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay, and it could be, but look, they had black people held in cages at borders in Mexico. Nobody talked about that. They just talked about the little Mexican kids at the border. Black women complaining how Mexicans and Guatemalans holding the men at gunpoint while they beat them down and rape the women. Ain't nobody talking about that. So now I'm gonna get into another part of this story with me and my friend. Because like I say, my friend, his wife just left from over there, I guess about 4 or 5 months ago. And she was certain parts, you can see how they will have their little kids out working 11, 12 o'clock at night paying off debt. Say, but in that process, they were also telling people, get off the streets, the cartel is here. You don't want to get caught up in this. And for me, and I just don't look for the conspiracy and everything, because every time something happened to a black person, it's a conspiracy. You heard the conspiracy with George Floyd, with nobody even on it. Y'all heard, because everybody supported Kanye Kardashian. They weren't even on his neck like that. Then you can talk about Mike Brown. He wouldn't kill. You can go to the conspiracy with Trey. Every time a black person is killed, we find a conspiracy. I'm on newsflash. People don't like black folks. They waiting for the opportunity to kill y'all. I know black people don't want to believe that. Why can't it be? Why can't it just be those
So
people?
if that's brother Bakari, if that's
Wait a minute, Azuli. Why can't it just be those people were in the wrong place at the wrong time? Is that possible?
That's a fact. I agree. That is a possibility, and I agree. I accept that. But brother Bakari, outside of that, what you just say, how many brothers you know, right? When I don't know if you know women who go to the DR for certain things, right? How many people you know, brothers you know, go three black men going with this woman to get one Brazilian butt lift? Does that sound like what we do? Usually they take their girls with them. Why would they take three? Why would she take? They don't. It just in my experience in dealing with and listening to situations like that. Usually, what I hear is women go and with other girlfriends to do these kinds of things. I have never heard that up like three dudes would take a woman to get a Brazilian butt lift. Now you may have heard it before. It don't just register in my brain. This is why I say, well, there must be something afoot, and I don't think I far fetch in saying that because it has not been my experience.
And I understand, but the only thing I'm saying, every time a black person died, every time a black person is murdered, we look, black people find a conspiracy in it every time. I'm just waiting on the conspiracy to come out about Rasheem Carter next, because I know it's coming. I know it's coming. But
Ultimately,
that's
it
gonna
doesn't
be.
really. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go
Who's
ahead,
that?
Carl.
Who's
Go
that?
ahead,
I was
Carl.
going to say, ultimately, it doesn't really matter. In the long run, these people, they were still black people, and they still deserve their lives. And I think it's a tragedy they were killed, and the people who murdered them, need to go face justice. And I think the cartels being more forthright than the American police, and that says something. But I remember, I don't know if anybody saw the show Narcos on Netflix. There was a DEA agent, Kiki Camarena, who was killed by the cartel. So the cartel doesn't want that heat coming from the federal authorities. So they're willing to turn over people who operated outside their bounds. But I don't think it's a conspiracy. Like you said, the world hates black people. I don't know where this idea that Mexicans aren't racist comes from. Mexicans are racist as hell. You know, I remember I was in high school, and there was a big fight between all the black kids and all the Mexican kids. So it was like in the '90s. So this all did that. Mexicans aren't racist. Black people have no friends. So yeah, but I don't think it matters whether they went there to sell drugs or get a Brazilian butt lift. I don't agree with that. But at the end of the day, these people deserve their lives, and they shouldn't have been murdered.
If she went to get a Brazilian butt lift and those two men got killed, that's a tragedy. But if they was into the drug war, they were doing drug shit and they got killed, you pay the price for dealing in that lifestyle. That's what I'm saying. And for people to say, like you saying that sometimes it's just business. Maybe they didn't kill them because they were black. They killed because there was business. I don't understand how 3 men follow a black woman to get a Brazilian butt lift in another country. I've never heard that. But if that's the case, if they got killed because they went to do a Brazilian butt lift, then it's a tragedy. But if you were part of the drug thing, you went and got killed, bro, you pay the price of the life. So I'm gonna be mad at the Brazilian cartel. So I'm gonna be mad at the Brazilian cartel if they went there to do honest drug dealing and they got killed. That's messed up. But at the end of the day, it's part of the drug the drug game. So I don't understand how somebody saying that, yo, why would 3 men go with a woman and then 2 men got killed and 1 man got shot and they escaped with their life? If it's a cosmetic surgery, why are you going there? Like, this is crazy. Get your ass in the gym.
I would like to point something out. This little thing, quote unquote, right here, this topic, is really a big thing, right? This story, just how we view it, right? The lenses that we view it through, it's seemingly like a small thing, but it's actually really a big thing. So this is one of those examples where we have to start taking mind of the big and small thing. With that said, let's get to Oni, and then I'll welcome in the new panelists. Go ahead, Oni.
Yeah. So, like I'll say 4 things, right? One is, well, I guess it's already been said, but it's a BBL. You know what I mean? That's not that serious. And so the thing that I heard, because I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, because most people kind of just brushed over this story. I really kind of brushed over it too, but I did see when it was coming out that people were saying that the woman was in contact with like a suspicious type person. So it's possible that she was in contact telling people, oh, she got that kind of money. She got money. She's going to pay the price for a good surgery type stuff, but she's not really contacting a surgeon. Like, it's possible that she was contacting some other people, like the people, like, let's say the cartel or whomever. She's contacting them, talking about, oh, yeah, I'm bringing some money for this surgery. I'm going to pay this amount of money. I'm going to pay so many thousands of dollars type stuff, right? Which is like, like, again. So I think what happens is that she might have brought these dudes because she's like, oh, this is sketchy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is sketchy. I'm not too sure about this. I don't know how it's going to go. You guys come through and protect me. But that's a bigger idea. I want people to understand that if you do not shoot first, you ain't protecting nobody. Because they gonna shoot first. The tactic that they use, we should pay attention to this. They knew where she was parked or something, right? Or they knew where they were sitting in the car. She's probably, she probably brought these 3 dudes like, hey, I'll be safe with you 3, right? Sure. These motherfuckers just rammed the car into them and then opened fire and killed 2 of them from jump. Then say, get out of the car. Like that, I don't want to say it's a military tactic, but that is like a military tactic type stuff, And it kind of tells you realistically, you can't be on other people's territory. Now, I want to say this. I have because Brother Bakari was saying that he knows a lot of black people talking about they want to go to Mexico. So, like I said, I had this nice looking Haitian woman, like really good looking woman, right?
Yo, leave our Haitian women alone. Shit.
Tasty woman. No, I'm joking. All right. Well, anyway, but like she was like she trying to start a life in Mexico type stuff. Because when she went to Mexico, they was just, oh, we love you. Because she's a nice, nice dark complexion, right? So she's like, oh, they love my complexion in Mexico, unlike, in America type stuff, And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about, girl, because she was gorgeous. But anyway, like her whole thing was yeah, she's like, oh, she tried to start her life in Mexico. But she said when she was in Mexico, because she in that like that Buddhist stuff, that yoga stuff. So she was like, she heard that there was like a Buddhist type temple somewhere in Mexico, like a lost woman. You got to find it. You got to walk through the jungles to get to it, right? So she and her friend, a white lady apparently, right? Anyway, but her and a white lady go walking through the jungles to find this place, but it's near the border essentially, right? And the border is cartel territory. So when she's walking, she hears some dudes talking in Spanish, and before she knows it, she's surrounded by these motherfuckers with her son, her son and this white woman, and they pretty much pleading with their lives to just turn back and leave because these motherfuckers is like, why you on my territory type shit, right? So I don't know. I think I didn't really follow the story, and I don't really know Mexican geography like that. But like, if like as Carl was saying, the name of the place is the More Killer some shit. But like, if they for real went to the cartel territory to get a surgery while she was contacting, it's possible that she was contacting somebody in the cartel about coming through for the surgery. Like it's possible she got set up. She knew she probably needed some men for protection type shit, but the men couldn't protect her because these motherfuckers are not playing games. These men were probably like, oh, we're gonna stand here, throw some fists or something like that. These motherfuckers was not throwing fists. They were using a car as a weapon, and they got out of the car shooting shots. I guess so that's pretty much the four things I wanted to say. Like, one, I don't know why you going with a BBL, and I don't think what Carl was saying about, oh, I think the surgeries are too expensive in America. The surgery should damn be expensive. Why the fuck are you trying to like just work out? Like, use that money on good food, on fruits and vegetables. Why the fuck somebody gonna be like, nah? That's one. Two, like, y'all need to stop going to Mexico like it's whatever, right? Three, you have to vet who the fuck you like. Don't just go for cheap. Go for the license. Go for the vetting. Go for something, right? And then four, like, yeah, you can't be on nobody else's turf. Even when like I said, if I go down to the hood and I'm walking around doing shit in the hood, motherfuckers gonna look at me and motherfuckers might approach me. And if I don't act right, motherfuckers might kill me. And I don't know if they went to some motherfuckers' territory, but if these motherfuckers just drove into these people and then shot them in broad daylight, you probably was on their territory. If they could kidnap you in broad daylight, you probably on their territory. You gotta because I made the same mistake. I went to Tanzania. I didn't know the cities either, right? But that's a risk. I knew there was a risk, and but like I know there's a risk when you go somewhere and you don't know where the fucking cities are. You went to cartel territory. It seems like, and if that's the case, and you probably knew something was up if you brought 3 dudes with you. Now the dudes should have had their mind right and been like, fuck no, I'm not going on no damn trip to go. I don't give a shit how much money you go offer me. I don't give a shit because that sounds stupid. If you need me to protect you, then you probably shouldn't be going there. Just if you got that much money, just get your fucking surgery next door. But it is what it is.
I want to say this.
Yeah,
I don't want Black people to be harmed nowhere in this world. You know what I mean? Even though I know sometimes we take chances and we do things to put us in risky situations. I don't want us to be harmed for any reason or murdered. Someone's life should not be taken just like that. So I don't want that notion to be out there, because Black Americans shouldn't be harmed. The Grito, the Gitanos, they should not be harmed in Mexico as well. So this human cry, it's a universal cry for me, and I don't believe that these people should have just lost their lives like that, even though they might have been engaging in situations that was high risk. I don't believe that they should have been harmed just like that. Their lives should have been taken just like that. No way. I don't believe that at all. So
let me just add though, like it don't matter what we believe about. Like I said, if I go, I'll tell y'all back a story about I was walking from school from this white boy was in this group with us, 4 of us, walking from school, and I don't know why, but we were near, kind of like near. Well, it's pretty close to where I live, I guess. But the white boy and this other, like the white boy decided to like make like a pretty much a nice, a sound like a kind of like a bird, right? But it's a gang call in Brooklyn. You doing that noise, like he did that enough that some motherfuckers just ran up on him. Now they didn't kill him, but they robbed him, right? But it's like, if you're gonna be doing shit, if you're gonna be calling the attention of gangs and shit like that, they're probably gonna respond. And when they do respond, as much as you may not want it, like we have to understand that the world is not run by, the world is run by reality. And in reality, if there are people who exercise violence outside of the state, realistically, you're supposed to exercise violence outside the state, but realistically, there are people who exercise violence outside the state, and there's people who exercise violence within the state. But all that to say that, whatever you might hope for. Like I said, if I go down the hood and I start doing whatever, a certain dance move, or I start doing a certain calling, I start wearing a certain dress code, right? Motherfuckers might respond, and they might not let me walk away for that. If I disrespect the wrong person, they might not make me walk away from that. That's just the reality. When it comes to this woman, I think she was bragging about money. I think she was.
Let's welcome in Kibwe. Kibwe, how are you this week?
Man, I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Good. Good to hear your voice. Did you get to see this story and hear what everyone had to say?
I didn't see the video, and I heard what Oni and a couple other people had to say, but I just Googled the story right quick and read an article about it. So it seemed like I got a pretty decent grasp of all the information that's available so far.
All right, talk about it, Kibwe. The price of beauty. This is what they paid. Go ahead.
So I just think that this is a very unfortunate situation, truthfully. I mean, women in the United States go to Mexico or other Latin American countries all the time to get these cosmetic surgeries because they're cheaper in these countries. And that's just a sad truth of reality. And it seems like in this situation, so it was 2 men and 2 women. I think one of the pairs of men and women were married, and basically 1 man survived and 1 woman survived. So all 4 of them get kidnapped. 2 of them, 1 man and 1 woman died. 1 man and 1 woman survived. I just really think that this is just a very unfortunate situation. It seems like they got lost when they were looking for the doctor's office or the medical clinic in the area because there was terrible cell phone service. So they were kind of driving around. You know how people are when they get lost in a place they're not familiar with. They kind of driving around or walking around kind of without direction or without a purpose. And I mean, this type of, and when people see that, and when the cartel sees that type of behavior, it just makes the people walking around a lot more vulnerable to be victims of kidnapping. Because, kidnapping, unfortunately, is big business in Mexico. So the CNN reported that this is probably a case of mistaken identity. So the cartel seen these 4 black people walking around and assumed that they were Haitian drug runners. I mean, that's possible. It's also possible that the cartel just seen them and knew that they were Black Americans. So they kidnapped them because there's kind of this idea that, Americans on tour, or not on tour, but Americans who are, doing tourist activities in Mexico have a lot of money. So they may have wanted to kidnap them for that reason. But I just think that it's a tragedy. And I think that, when you visit in these other countries, you have to be very, very careful, especially in a lot of parts of Mexico. I mean, there's a reason that millions of people are fleeing these Central American countries and Mexico to come to the southern border. It's because they're seeking refuge from these types of extreme gang activities. So, I mean, to anybody who wants to, get a cosmetic surgery and visit one of these countries, me personally, I would say it's not worth the risk because their health standards are not necessarily the same as in America. So just from a medical perspective, it's a lot more risky. And then obviously from a tourism perspective, it's a lot more risky. because we know gang activity is a lot more. I mean, the cartels basically are on equal footing with the government in Mexico. So I don't think that, people are always gonna have these crazy conspiracies or whatever, but I mean, this case seems pretty clear cut to me. I mean, the cartel either assumed that these people were Haitian drug runners and shot at them and kidnapped them for that reason, or they assumed that they were African American tourists and shot at them and kidnapped them for that reason. And I just think it's unfortunate. Rest in peace to the 2 people who died in this situation. And I just think that, people have to be very, very careful when they're traveling to certain countries.
So nobody speaking. So nobody.
There's really one quick thing I want to say before I forget it. This also low key ties into the previous prompt. Because all of this happened over a friggin' BBL.
Yeah, that's facts. I agree.
And so if your beauty standards are fucked up, then these kind of things can happen to you, right? But if you start tying in your beauty standards into this push for nationhood status and power and stuff like that, you have to have a certain mentality now before you get into that, like Azuli said before. Azuli, you go ahead.
What I'm saying, so these Mexicans live on the border. Nobody speaks English, so nobody could open their mouth and ask for communication. If these people are not what they're supposed to be like, so my only thing is, if can't you just rent somebody's car? Like, so there's no talking. What? So at least in the hood, if you go to somebody's hood and they ask you where you from, what are you doing here? So my thing is with this whole issue, like, I think the whole BBL thing, I don't know. I don't know if it's true, if it's fact. This seems shady as hell for them to just kill people, even if there was and then they said they were Haitian. So so everybody's Haitian. Black people are just everything. So is that their first time seeing black people over the border? I don't understand.
Well, I don't think it's their first time seeing black people, but I think it would indicate that when they do see black people, that they're Haitian drug runners. If they're assuming that just every black person in the area is a Haitian drug runner. Well, I agree that doesn't make sense, like, for them to do that, but that doesn't mean they didn't do it. I mean, people do stuff that doesn't make sense. But I agree with you that, I mean, for CNN, I mean, I'm not a journalist, so I don't know how they investigate in this, but I think it's kind of crazy to just assume that the cartel assumed they were Haitian drug runners, because it's definitely possible that they knew they were African American and attacked them because of that. Because, I mean, they think that they're coming with a lot of cash, so they think that there's something that could be taken from them. So I agree that it's kind of crazy to just assume that, they had this belief that they were Haitian. But I mean,
the thing is, the rest of the world,
it just speaks to a larger issue of, I just think that, you got to be very, very careful when you're traveling to these places, and you definitely shouldn't be traveling there for, truthfully, such superfluous reasons.
Yeah. Thank you for that, guys. Did I get to everyone on that one? Okay,
I just want to say the rest of the world doesn't really differentiate between African Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans. We just black. It seems like we don't understand that to the outside world. We just one big nigga. So, I mean, it does sound crazy. They think they're Haitian smugglers or whatnot, but they just saw black people, and they just saw, black people in their country, and they didn't really bother to care to make the distinction. And I think that we have to learn from that in a way. The world doesn't see us the way we see ourselves. They just see us as one big nigga, basically.
I agree with that. And to Koku in the chat, actually, yes, they found like receipts in their car for the medical procedure. And like when they got kidnapped in the town that they got kidnapped in, they were looking for the medical clinic and were struggling to find the medical clinic because the cell phone service was bad. So yeah, there's proof that they were there to basically get a cosmetic medical procedure.
Don't tell these conspiracy theorists that they're gonna say the government put them damn receipts there because they don't believe that black people might have been going somewhere and not selling. So let's just figure out and say, well, they wrong at. They shouldn't. God damn it, black folks can't get a break. Not even
I agree with you.
Can't get a break.
Yeah, I agree.
She should have cut herself for break and went to the fucking gym. Why do I care? She wants to,
I
if that's
think
the
we should
thing.
care because I think we should
You
care
want to
because
argue with is women, because you
we
ain't
gotta
got no
protect each other,
power with
man. We gotta
nobody else.
protect each other and
Why
love
should I
one another.
care? Why should
You
I
got
care?
scared
Why
for
did you put
women.
yourself
You
in
ain't
that
got scared for
situation?
nobody else.
Anyway,
You got
the
scared
way
for black women. But every
the
time
way
you go to mention the white folks, your voice gets soft.
yeah, because
Your voice gets soft.
they rule the world. Y'all niggas don't.
They
Why
rule,
should
no,
I
they
be
rule
scared of
you.
y'all?
The
Anyway,
only thing you want to sit and do is try to figure out a way to make everything be a black woman fault. Well, that black woman and that man, he shouldn't have followed that woman because that woman gonna lead you wrong every time.
okay, back to what I'm saying. If these, like Gas said something that's important. If she knew that these were sketchy people, are you allowed to carry gun across the state? Why would you, if you're going there to protect a woman, so you go with your bare hands in a country that's so sketchy, that is sketchy? So what you thought was gonna happen? So if
We got to stop blaming the victim. We got to stop blaming the victim.
Yeah,
We
I
got
agree.
to.
And you know what? Truthfully,
That's because they
okay.
scatter
at a
everybody else,
systemic
man. Just go ahead and be honest.
you know what though? On a systemic level, there's actually a very easy solution to dismantling the cartels. I mean, that would just be ending the war on drugs. I mean, if you end the war on drugs and decriminalize drugs, I mean, the cartels will be pretty much done for in one fell swoop. So on a systemic level, I mean, this violence that's going on and their reign of tyranny over all of these Mexican cities is completely unnecessary. And there's a very simple solution to
you
usurping their power. But on an individual level and on a community level, I think it's very important that we, protect each other and love one another. And I think that we have to be a lot more respectful when we talk about these types of tragedies.
tragedy, you went to get your ass done. What are we
And
saying?
she lost her
Right
life.
now?
Her and another black person lost their
She
life
didn't care.
trying to
She
do
didn't care.
something.
She
She
didn't lose
didn't
her
care enough
life.
about her life.
Trying to do something
She didn't
completely
care enough
false.
about her life. Go to the fucking gym.
She ain't lose her life.
But I get it, Oni. She didn't care enough about her life. She didn't think shit like that. Anyway, how you gonna go protect a woman in another country? You ain't got no guns, bro.
Well, I mean,
Here's
yeah,
the
that
thing.
doesn't make sense. But that doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, these people lost their life for no reason. And I think that, we can always criticize any decision that anybody makes at any time. But, there's a time and a place. And I think this is not the time or the place to be so critical, especially say, it has nothing to do with me. She could have just went to the gym. Like, yeah, obviously she could have just went to the gym. You're making that option sound a lot easier than it actually is. But I think the larger issue is, number one, why are our sisters feeling so much pressure, social pressure, to change their bodies to the point that they're taking risks with their lives to go and get these procedures in other countries that's dangerous? I think that's a larger issue that needs to be addressed. And number two is, why is the United States so unwilling to take systemic measures to usurp the cartel's power?
Let's get a woman's perspective, a black woman's perspective at that. Let's welcome in Tanzan this week. Tan, how are you this week?
I'm very good, thank you. Sorry
Good.
for being late.
It's okay. Were you able to catch this story this week, Tan? And did you have a conversation?
Yes, I actually caught up the last 10 minutes of it. I had everyone's perspective. I didn't catch the first the first one, but I got this one. For me, basically, is this: it's not about blaming the victim. It's just saying that we already know how the world is. You're not welcome pretty much anywhere. So if things are difficult over here, I think and this is, let me not even talk about, as black people, whatever, just going to a different country where firstly you don't speak the language, you don't know the people there. Even people going to Africa, I always say, it's more about, making connections and networks. You can just go there as a tourist, but if you don't know people there, you're really taking a huge risk. So yeah, it's cheaper to go over there and do some work on your body, I guess. But are those are not very good risks. You're really putting your hands in someone else's your life in someone else's hands when you take a risk like that. And you have to ask, what is this a valid enough reason to take a risk? Because none of us would ever go there for any reason, forget getting a surgery or whatever. And then when you're out, let's say you're out, I don't know how what those surgeries entail, but you're out for quite some time, you're going to be, physically vulnerable. Yeah, even if you get protection, you're still going to be able to get back, and you're in a vulnerable state and driving and all that, stuff. That's not good for you. So I don't know how important it is to get. If it was a life-threatening procedure, you're like, oh, I have to do this to save my life, then yes. But don't go somewhere just for this. And to me, it's a frivolous reason. I don't care what anybody says. If it's a thing that you're just doing because you have, you're doing it for your health or something, yes, you can take that risk. But just to seem a little bit prettier, for vanity's sake, you're going to risk your life. Like, no, not even about beauty standards or anything like that. You can't just go to a different place where you don't know anybody, and just, people have been dying with their friends, that we know of. You're just going to still go to places where, even if you had done a little bit of research, this is not even about, even if you had done any research, that place was said to have been one of the worst places in the country. So how do you risk your life just for something like that? To me, it's very irresponsible. It's not blaming the victims, but it's saying, like, let's say you're a woman and you go and get drunk at a fraternity party and so on. And yes, it's not your fault. You shouldn't be blamed if something happens to you, but you should really be careful about where you go if you have something to do with it. If you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, fine. But really, you shouldn't be heading to those places anyway. So if you just found yourself there on the way to, I don't know, to back to your country, yes, but they left and it was a long drive. It wasn't just, somebody out here going down the border. It was something like, I don't know, 10 hours, something like that. Like, you have to be out of your mind to take those kinds of risks, knowing the world as it is. If you're the one who's most, at risk and vulnerable, you should be the one taking the least risk. You shouldn't be out there, just doing things that, and if you have to do things that are worth doing. You are really losing your life for what? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I feel bad. Obviously, nobody ever is happy when somebody loses their life. It is a tragedy, but we also have to take these kinds of instances to warn people not to just be so reckless with their lives. The world is hard enough as it is. If you're going to do something, don't just do it recklessly. Protect your life.
Let me
That's the
say
only
this
thing you
actually.
can do.
Shout out to Lero in the chat. Shout out to Lero for all the comments. You guys could check those out. Shout out to Gas who's out there in the comments too. I like this thing he said earlier. He said, start traveling to Africa and the African diaspora and be on your best behavior, simple and shut. Only wanted to add something. Only, and then whoever has any last words. Did I get to Buana on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Only. And then whoever has any last comments, go ahead.
Yeah, let me say this. So yeah, when I was in, Tanzania is ridiculously safe, like ridiculously safe. But one time I was looking for a different hotel. You know what I'm saying? I was looking for a different hotel, and I come across a part of the town, right? Run down, poor type, like really bad. And then these dudes just start following me, pretending to be helpful. Right. And I'm a walking guy. So I'm just walking through. And at some point, this dude's like really like stalking me. Some other dudes start, he starts calling this other dude to come over. And by that time, I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm lost. I can't find this place, but it's all good. I'm gonna order I'm gonna order a vehicle and just drive the fuck out of here. Right. Because you gotta have your eyes open and you gotta know when shit ain't right. If what Kipe saying about oh motherfuckers if people Kipe saying about they was lost somewhere because the cell phone reception was bad type shit, like that's when you just got to say, you know what, tomorrow or you know what, we're gonna try to like draw out this thing another time, because as like I agree with Lero in the sense of you don't want to blame people for getting killed, but it's like if I stuck around in that part of town, right, with my son, you know, just like, you know what, if somebody kills me, it's not my fault, right? I would just be dead. You know, one thing you got to do is you got to protect your life regardless, because you have to know that there are people around you that want to take that life from you. You know, and sometimes you don't see them. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you don't know the situation. Sometimes you do. And what I'm saying is that I don't know what this dude's motives were when I was in Tanzania. I don't know I don't know why he was gathering a crowd around me. But I got the fuck out. Because the thing is that, you know, there's fucking around and finding out, and there's also just straight up finding out. You know?
But I want to say this, and then I don't know if it was moving on, but I just want to say this right quick. I just feel like, well, number one, I want to say that the situation you gave is a little bit different than this, because according to this report, I mean, they show up in the city. It was called Matamoros. Yeah, Matamoros. I mean, they show up, they're walking around or driving around. I don't remember. I think they were driving around, calling the medical clinic, trying to get in contact with them. I mean, they get out the car, and then, I mean, these people just start shooting at them. So the idea, like, they were doing something, like, irresponsible while they were there, or, like, they were hanging in the wrong part of town. I mean, not really. I mean, imagine you step out the car, and, I mean, people just start shooting at you. I mean, there's really nothing in that situation you could do. There's really nothing in that situation you could do other than surrender, which is what the other two, which is what I'm assuming that they did. I think that our solutions can't just be reactive. Our solutions have to be preventative. And if we want our sisters to stop putting themselves in these dangerous situations in Mexico, in the Dominican Republic, in Colombia, I think we have to examine what social pressures are leading them to seek these procedures
in America
at any risk. I mean, what are we putting into our daughters, our sisters, our cousins, our girlfriends, our wives, our aunties, that's leading them to have this drive to want to change their body at any means?
Nah, all right. So that's what I'm saying. Like I said, spell the name of the city. So you didn't spell it, so I just looked it up. So you look up Matamoros cartel, and the first thing you get is this wiki article called Gulf Cartel. The Gulf Cartel is a crime syndicate and drug trafficking organization in Mexico, and perhaps one of the oldest organized crime groups in the country. It is currently based in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, directly across the U.S. border from Brownsville, Texas. So what I'm saying is that you're going to the founding city or the base of the cartel that everybody heard about. So it's not a question of are you doing anything right or wrong. It's a question of why the fuck are you in the base of the cartel driving around like you don't belong there.
Because they're that desperate to change their body. I mean, that's really the answer.
No,
why are they putting themselves at risk? They're that desperate to change their body.
What I'm saying is this: if I circle the block in Brownsville, New York, if I just circle the block 3 times, motherfuckers might start shooting at me. Okay, if I just do that,
stop lying. That is not true.
That's
okay. You can't get them. They got to look. Every time a black person get killed, why do we have to look and turn? This is no different than the rifleman and all them other people. Let's flip over every rock, every stick, shake every tree until we find and make sure those black farmers in Colorado is not lying. And until then, we're gonna figure out a way to say they are. So now,
you know what? I agree with my dad on this. You know what it really reminds me of? This is like when a black person is murdered. Oh, okay, go ahead.
But now the investigation, it turns into, and it has happened every time you hear about a black person being killed by the police, killed by whoever. Now let's figure out a way to say, why were you there? It doesn't make a difference. Them fucking Mexicans killed him. Why can't they be telling the truth about why they were there? Why is that so hard to believe coming from a black person? This is why we were there. Why is that so hard to believe?
So why did you go there? Why didn't you go to the gym?
I think
You know what, Dad, I absolutely agree with you.
It's
I absolutely agree
internalized
with you.
anti-blackness is what it's internalized
Yes.
anti-blackness is what it is.
Exactly. And you know what, Dad? You know what this is the same thing as? This is the same thing as, when a black person gets killed by the police, why did he run? Why didn't he comply? Why didn't he put his hands up when they told him to? Why didn't he do exactly what I think he should have done using my 2020 retroactive Monday morning quarterbacking skills? At the end of the day, there's whatever is driving black women to go and take these risks with their lives while they're traveling through these countries and while they're on the medical table, because the medical procedures in these countries are not as held to as high a standard as in the US. Whatever is driving our sisters to take these measures need to be addressed. And I want to respond to what Gassed Them Up said right quick, and I'm going to move on. He said that there's no social pressure, just a bunch of Bakaris telling them that they can do anything they want. And you know what, Gassed Them Up? First of all, black women can do whatever they want to do. You don't control black women or own
they cannot.
They're not your property. They can do whatever they want.
No, they cannot. No, they cannot.
They cannot do whatever they want. They cannot do whatever they want. They cannot do whatever they want.
Just let me say this point right quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. Black women can do whatever they want because they're adults. What needs to really be addressed is what's leading them to want these results. People don't just want anything out of nowhere. There's a reason why they want to change their bodies so desperately, and that needs to be addressed in our communities.
No, they cannot. Black women, all others, Willie. No, they cannot. No, they
tell you what
cannot.
I hear. I ain't finna hold on. I'm finna talk over some people. I hear a bunch of black men sound scary. I'm just being honest.
Okay.
I hear a bunch of black men sound like they are afraid of it, especially Azuli, of everybody except a black woman. Because why is it? Why is it we got this search? Why do we have to flip? Let's go flip over the car. Maybe we can find she's telling the truth. But until then, let's find the conspiracy and let's push the conspiracy because she shouldn't have got killed. God damn. What's wrong with y'all? And y'all wonder why we're in this position all over the world. Listen to these so-called, listen to the black men. Listen to Azuli.
Hold on, Brother Ricari, because you finished giving us a tongue lashing. You finished beating us up. So I want to say this though, because I need to inform Kiwi. Yes, black women are potentially able to do anything they want to do, just like every other human being on this planet. I agree. But in terms of the systems that are in place around, your society is maternalistic, okay? So that women are allowed to freely do whatever the hell they want to do in their society. In some societies in the world, they are paternalistic. The men make the rules. And the men say the women can do everything they want to do. In some countries of the world, women can't drive cars. In some countries of the world, women are told what to wear.
And that's disgusting.
Wear this shit.
Black men
let me finish, brother. Let me finish.
Black people on social media was looking for reasons. See, this is why that white boy went in there in Buffalo and killed all them.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the woman right now. Why are you bringing this shit up?
It's the same damn thing. It
No,
all
it's
go
not.
together.
No, it's
Every
not.
time a
No,
black
it's not.
person get
No, it's
killed,
not.
you're looking for a damn reason why. What did black people do wrong? Or looking for a damn conspiracy. Every time somebody killed, that's the problem. Every time a black person is killed, we are looking for some fucking conspiracy.
Absolutely.
Hold up. Y'all can just talk like that. Y'all gotta let Juana finish.
Yeah, let him speak, Pops. Let him speak. But I agree with you.
Let me interject quickly here. I want to make sure that we're all very clear about what we're talking about here, because sometimes I think it's unclear. To Brother Bakari and folks who agree with Brother Bakari right now, which I don't have a problem with what he's saying. Is prevention not better than cure? So are we talking about, there's one thing to say you're blaming black folks for their victimhood or for being made a victim. But what about the instances where you know something, you should have, again, prevention is better than cure. You should have not gone over yonder. You shouldn't have gone, like, I'll use an example Buana will probably understand. You shouldn't have gone walking through Camp Road 2 o'clock in the morning, right? It's not that I'm blaming you for your own mishap, your own murder or death or what have you, but you should have known not to go through Camp Road 2 o'clock in the morning. Like most Bahamians from Nassau know that, right? So is that scenario a case of blaming Black folks all the time?
Maybe not in that particular instance, because there's no social force. Well, there probably are. Like, they have to work all day, and the only time they have to exercise is at 2 in the morning. But so there could be social forces driving that. But in this case, we know that there are social forces that drive Black women to be ashamed or upset with their body or their image, because that's what the entire last topic was about. And I think that a better approach to solving this problem is we need to be speaking life and positive energy into our sisters, and stop making them feel like they need to do these things. I mean, these people are flying to these other countries and risking their life to change their body because they feel as though their body is inadequate. So, I mean, until that is addressed, people will continue to do this. I mean, don't think people are going to stop. Punitive forces very rarely address issues like this. So these people going over there and losing their life is not going to stop other Black women from flying to Colombia, Mexico, Dominican to get their bodies done.
Wait, let me say this.
Real quick. Just want to say this too. The same way it's being said that, we always look to blame Black folks for something. I gotta put this out there too. It seems like we always look to blame Black men for a lot of problems too. Like,
I'm not blaming Black men. Black women contribute to this body shaming or body problems as well. I mean, the entire really our entire society, but specifically in our community, there are social pressures for Black women's body to look a certain way. And we should address those social forces within our community. And then you will see not even just people flying out the country to get BBLs or whatever, but you will see just cosmetic surgeries in general go down.
So watch this, right? Now, it's this park up the street from where I live called Mud Creek. The park closed. White woman go up there. She's exercising 2 in the morning. They found her dead. Then right up on the Silver Conduit Trail a few years back, white women out there 3 o'clock in the morning found. Not once do you hear white people talking about why were they out there so late? Anything can happen. People like, let's find these motherfuckers and do something about it. Like, God damn, man. It's like Black people can't get a break. Black people can't get a break even from Black people. And then we got people like Azul. He gonna put bass in his voice. He'll put bass in his voice, but no, he's scared of his shadow. And well, it's the woman. Because that's the only thing he want to go at is a woman. As a woman. And every time, but I'm still asking, why is it? Every time. When they found this young Black man hanging from a tree 15 miles from where I live 4 years ago, you know what people on social media was saying? Well, he shouldn't have been in that area. It's a lot of white people in that area. Yes, white people over there. It's some Black people too. But they figured out a way to point the finger at a Black man, at a brother who was found hanging from a fucking tree. Black people figured out a way to say, well, why was he over there? What was he doing over there? Like, God damn, when is anything gonna ever be? Okay, you know what? Black man,
stop crying, man. Stop crying.
We gonna get together and fight.
It's because we're afraid. It's because we're afraid, Bakar. That's what it is. It's fear. We're terrified of these crackers, and that's really the truth of the matter. There was recently here in Florida. There was in Disney World, some white people let their child get into one of the detention ponds, and the child got eaten by an alligator. Okay, horrible situation. What did they do? They put a fence around it. We say, oh, it's the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. It's the child getting that water. We Black people, we have to be responsible all the time. Even when we die, we're responsible.
Okay, so what I have heard so far is the brother say that we are afraid, which I don't deal in the realm of fear. Okay, so yes, that is true. Some of us are afraid. Then I hear Brother Bakari say that we find plausible reasons why Black people put themselves in a vulnerable situation and get themselves killed. And unfortunately, we always point the finger at the victim. Is that a credible argument? Of course, that's a credible argument. But let me add something to the table that's not being said. If I stick my head into a lion's mouth and a lion bites my head off, am I so much of a victim in that scenario and circumstance? I mean, let me bring in another scenario. What Brother Bakari would understand. The sister who Mike Tyson was accused of rape. The sister going to the man room, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Knowing that this man is a boxer or whatever. For whatever reason, she went there that night, right? She put herself in that particular situation. Should she have been raped? Absolutely. Well, accused. Should she have been? Should that situation have went on? Of course, it should not. I don't think that it should have went on. However, why would I put myself in that scenario and situation? There is culpable response. The onus is on the responsibility of us as human beings as well. We should be put, I feel we should not put ourselves in vulnerable situations, because when the outcomes are terrible, these kinds of situations happen, and you have all different kinds of. Oh, let me finish, Brother Bakari. Let me finish. So I would say this. Yes, I accept Brother Bakari argument, because partially he is right. Yes, I do accept Carl's argument, because some of us are afraid. But I also know that we as well put ourselves in ridiculous situations, and when the outcome comes from it, how can I not say it was silly to put your head in the lion's mouth and forget that you put your head in the lion's mouth? Come on, man. I just, there's enough room for all of us to be correct in this particular scenario, I believe.
And I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna go back to situations that you hear all over social media. See, because people ignore that. They found reasons. The reason the black man, I guess that black man just put his head in that noose. Black folks found reasons why he was hung from the tree. Black folks found reasons why why all those black people was killed at that grocery store in Buffalo, New York. Well, black people found.
No, you're making that up. You're making that up. You're making that shit up. You're making that shit up. No black people made it.
There were black people saying they should have been armed. There were black people saying they should have been armed.
Wait a minute. And the reason they were killed at the church in South Carolina, you got to think about it, see, because that's the church, because we got all the secret knowledge, because that's the church, see, what Denmark Vesey had, and the guy they killed was a senator. So you got to think about why the government sent them in there to kill them, see. What were they doing? What were they, man, you just get sick of the bullshit. You just get sick.
Can I talk, bro? You said the same thing over and over. Can I talk?
You just get sick of the bullshit. Mike Brown, see, you know, Mike Brown ain't dead, see, because that's just something that the government said. You just get sick of the bullshit. What somebody told me about Trayvon Martin, maybe if he had to just stop and listen to what the white boy said, it's just every time something happened to a black person, it just go back through social media. Y'all can pull up these stories. The black guy that was just decapitated in Mississippi a couple of weeks ago, before you know it, when the story get bigger, you're going to find excuses and reasons and say, well, he knew they didn't like him at the job. See, he shouldn't have been out in that area. He shouldn't have did this. It's going to always go back to what black people
okay, Bakari, you said that 20 times. Can I speak, bro?
Erzuli.
I don't want to hear you no more, Erzuli.
So you get off the fucking chat, nigga. The fuck?
Come on, chill out. Let's calm down.
No, Jake, let him go.
Let's calm down, man. Because the discussion is about two black people who lost their life, man, and the fact that, you know,
I'm just saying, let me talk.
Our community should be able to embrace each other in situations.
Y'all calm down.
Erzuli, me trolling you is fun. Every time I troll you, it's fun. You see, I troll your other boy so much, he won't even come up here. He'll just tighten it.
This is what I'm saying. When we go back to what I was saying is that when Brother Bakari wanted to say I'm not blaming the woman. If you really hear, I'm blaming the men. Why would you let women lead you to go somewhere that's unsafe to go to BBL? You're the man. No, we're not doing this. We'll save the money and go to Florida or go somewhere else I'm not going to a sketchy place with you to put my life in danger. So I'm not really, but the woman could say whatever she wants to say. You're the man. How are you letting a woman lead you to go get a BBL when you could have told the woman to go to the gym? And the brother said, hold up, the brother said we're putting pressures on women. No. A lot of that has to do with vanity. If God didn't give you hips and ass, go sit down somewhere. Everybody got their own body structure that they have. Go work on what's best for your body. And you could get, there's a lot of men that like women with breasts. There's a lot of men that like women with butt. No, that's because a lot of these women are cheaters. They want to cheat. They see the woman that's naturally born with the booty and with the hips. They want to go cheat and get it the easy way. Use what God gave you. Let me finish, bro. If God gave you a breast, yo, you go with that. If you got hips, go with that. Or go to the gym. Eat right. Go to the gym. You don't have to, but you know what? A lot of these black women, and it's not just black women, a lot of these women don't want to put the hard work. They want to go do that. Men don't tell them to go do that. So let's stop the way we're talking is that, oh, yeah, there is. I agree with what the brother said. There is social pressures or whatever. But at the end of the day, how many stories we hear that people got killed? Even Lero said something that was very true. People get killed, people die in Florida. I just saw 2 women passed away in Florida because they went to do BBLs. There's nothing cheaper than the $25 gym membership and eating right and walking. I'm not blaming I'm not saying that these people deserve to get killed or whatever, but I'm saying is, why are you going there for that? It's a place that's sketchy. Why are the men letting a woman lead them to go to a sketchy place to get butt surgery? Are we serious?
But hold on. I want to start quick.
There's social pressures on both ways. Women have social pressures on men too.
But I want to say this right quick. So first of all, I disagree with your assertion that they're wrong for letting women lead them. I don't see how. I mean, it was 2 men and 2 women. One of the male and female pairings was a married couple. So the idea that a husband going with his wife to support her when she's going to get a medical procedure, the idea that oh, he's a weak man for letting his woman lead him, I reject.
Lead him to a sketchy place, brother. To a sketchy place.
But this is what I mean by this is Monday morning quarterbacking. Hindsight is always 20/20. But so we can always say they should have did this, they should have did that. But I just don't think it's productive towards the conversation as far as moving forward. But some of the things you were saying about how black women should just be proud of how their body is, and if they want to change it, they should go to the gym or work on their diet. And I agree with those. But this is what I mean by moving forward. Our prescriptions have to be preventative. And those are preventative prescriptions. I don't necessarily agree with the way that you phrased it, but the overall idea that, you should just accept your body how it is, or be proud of what God gave you and work with that. That is the sentiment we need to be uplifting in our community to prevent things like this moving forward. Not saying, black women can't do what they want to do or their husbands need to lead them better.
Yo, how come black women?
Now let me say this right quick, right? I'm gonna say this. Azula, you call me Uncle. I love Azula and Gas. I'm gonna troll you every time you come around.
I love all of y'all. Yeah, I love all of y'all.
But I ain't got to say that. I don't have to say that to the other tethers. Y'all already know I love them.
I love all of y'all.
Azula and Gas. Azula and Gas think I don't love them. But I'm gonna say this right. When I say the social pressures in the other way, right? You saw a lot of men acting like they have what they truly don't have. Money. They'll go spend their money on a car knowing they can't afford because of the social pressure and this how they think this is going to get this woman. So this woman doing certain things thinking this is how they gonna get the man, right? I'm going to be honest with you. I literally just found out. I think I was on here. I finally just asked one day, man, what the hell is a BBL? About a month ago. In all honesty, I used to say like I don't even know what a BBL is. But nobody never said. I think I just found out what that was. Like,
yo, Bakari, stop lying. You pay for some woman to get a BBL. Stop it.
He paid for hundreds. If my woman he literally paid for hundreds.
I'm being honest. I didn't know what a BBL was, but My main point about this whole thing is we got to stop finding fault. Every time a black person get killed, we got to stop trying to be Columbo, the greatest detective ever, to prove they were doing something wrong, and that's why they got killed.
No, I agree with that sentiment. I'm gonna just say that, you know, like if I get lost somewhere, like I agree that like for instance, if I'm dating a woman in a dangerous neighborhood, right? I don't want to be killed for being in that neighborhood. And I don't really want it to be that, oh well, why the fuck did you go to that neighborhood? You know damn well that's not a neighborhood you should be going to. Like that's not, what I really want to hear. Now, I'm not gonna say that I'm not really gonna go with the whole, social pressure argument, because I think that generally speaking, if you are in a dangerous neighborhood, like it is what it is. You are in a dangerous neighborhood. And I'm just reminded of this time when I was younger, and this white girl was in a bar, right? And so like apparently some guy, drugged her and raped her. And so the feminist organization in the university at the time, which I happen to be a member of, but anyway, a feminist organization at the time, they decided to wait outside of the bar with placards saying, this bar supports rape type stuff. And so the bar owner came through and he was like, take that shit down. Like, why do you have that? So on and so forth. And, I let the ladies talk and, have a little debate. And the debate went along the lines of women should be safe all the time. So the bartender was like, well, look, why don't you tell the women to, come in groups and, watch each other's drinks type stuff. And they were like, no, we should just be safe regardless of where we are. And then the bartender said, the bar owner said, well, I want to be safe when I go to my car, but I'm not going to be safe. That's why I carry my piece, right? And at that moment, I was like, yeah, you know what? He's actually right. Like unfortunately, you are like I said, like I don't know this area. I don't know if they knew this area, but if this is in fact a world-renowned city for a certain really dangerous gang, right? Then like you have to be on your P's and Q's. Now, obviously, if you're just going for a medical appointment, it's a tragedy if you don't make it, if you don't whatever. And I mean, whatever. And it's like was said, you could get lost, you could have bad reception, all that kind of stuff, and that sucks. But at the end of the day, it's not like you're not in another person's territory. And unfortunately, other people have territory. So I understand what Bakari said about, well, we kind of scared, but it's like realistically speaking, unless we plan on moving on to Matamoros, it's like you just like unless you plan on moving on somebody else's violent territory, there's not much you could do. And so with regard to like the Ukraine, like I would say with regard to Ukrainian, you can't be Ukrainian or Ukrainian soldier walking around in Russia. The same as you can't just be a Russian soldier walking around in certain Ukrainian cities. Sometimes there's just like you're it's like a case of wrong place at the wrong time, and the wrong place is gonna be like a certain gang's territory. I would say that even like if this woman had taken them to another location, like we probably wouldn't hear the story, because like they were saying, 1 million people a year go down to Mexico to get these surgeries or whatever, right? So we probably wouldn't hear the story, but it comes down that you went to this particular location, which again might not be too bad. Probably a lot of people went down to this location, but you compound the whole, hey, look, I'm lost. Hey, look, I'm a tourist. Hey, look, I'm an American, right? All that kind of stuff. And like, if you don't go, like, if you go, even if, like I said, if you go down to like even like areas here where you just looking around like you a damn tourist or something, right? You become a target easily. And it's like, I'm not going to blame you for being a target, but as somebody from New York, it's like, I know how to behave to minimize my targeting, my being a target. Not to say that it's my fault if I get killed, right? It's obviously the killer's fault, but at the same time, it's like, well, like there are like again, like I would say I wouldn't do that shit. That's all I would say.
Look, man, I had a woman that was going to get her butt did. I ain't know. Now she said she had butt
His
injections
brother.
or whatever. She was very beautiful. Her butt was flat though. She didn't have what you call the black woman booty. She wanted a black woman booty. Now, shit, it didn't bother me. That's what she wanted. She was gonna be, I guess, I don't know who paid for it. I didn't pay for it, so I guess I didn't pay for it. She might have got with the man who did pay
You
for it.
benefited. You benefited. You benefited.
But I'm just saying, it didn't bother me. Shit, she wanted a black woman booty. Her booty was absolutely. She's absolutely beautiful. She had breasts. But she didn't have a black woman booty. She said she wanted her booty to be a little bigger, and she used to go to the gym because she used to go to the gym and work out with me. She just didn't have no booty, and that's what she wanted. She was getting butt injections or something like that. It didn't bother me. I'm
So
just being
if that's what she wanted, so how are we blaming us, the social norms, for that?
Well, I'm not blaming black men. I mean, black men contribute, black women contribute, the media at large contributes. I mean, our entire society is basically structured at pressuring black women to be a certain way or do certain things because we live in a racist, patriarchal society. But I think what we're finding common ground is, yes, I absolutely agree. You should try to, if you're going to travel out of the country, you should do research about the areas you're traveling to. You should always move with a purpose wherever you are. I mean, me and my dad are not disagreeing with that. It's just that when these type of situations happen, when black people lose their life in violent ways, for the first prescription to be like I described Monday morning quarterbacking and say, well, they should have done this or I would have done this. Number one, there's no way to know that because you weren't in their situation. And number two, it just comes off as you blaming the victim, truthfully.
Brother, let me ask you a question.
In a certain way, it is. So
Let me ask you a
I
question.
think that we can agree that you should always try to minimize how vulnerable you are to violence. But at the same time, we should also minimize, do everything in our power to minimize these pressures that are leading black women to make these choices and risk their life.
Let me ask you a question. When you keep using that term Monday night quarterbacking, is that the first time we heard a black woman going abroad and getting surgery and dying?
No.
So how are you saying we are Monday night quarterbacking if there's example of people dying when they were overseas to get those vanity surgeries?
Because, I mean, when you listen to this conversation, people are saying, I would have done this, or I was in this completely different place.
Because there's
I was in this completely different place, hundreds or thousands of miles away in this different situation. I reacted this way. This is what makes it Monday morning quarterbacking. When you start making prescriptions for what they should have done or giving examples that are completely different in this situation.
Wait,
I did this. Why couldn't they have made choices similar to mine?
But hold on a second. How is that saying I wouldn't have done the same thing if I said I was in a similar situation and I did something different?
Because the situation wasn't similar. I mean, you weren't looking for a medical clinic. You weren't in Matamoros, Mexico. People didn't start randomly shooting at you. Praise God. So, it's just a different situation.
I told you in New York, we are socialized to like Bakari saying that we scared. Like legit, you are socialized to be scared. Like motherfuckers is moving in New York. It's not like we are suspicious and paranoid. We don't know our neighbors. Like, yeah, we are going to be very different. Like even culturally, we're going to be very different from like generally black Southerners, period. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing about like the idea that I would move exactly like a bunch of like it doesn't even make any sense. Like, of course I would move different. Like, I'll tell you this in fact. When I was in high school, I was feeling like I had a gym class. I was feeling myself, wore a muscle shirt, some motherfucker on the street, random, said, you think you strong? I'll fucking shoot you right now. Random black man said he would shoot a high schooler, and I don't know how old he was, just because I was feeling myself with a muscle shirt. So yeah, we are actually disciplined to be like, we have different personalities. So yeah, I'm not walking around anywhere looking up at buildings. Like we are, like even if I go to Manhattan and I see skyscrapers, like a lot of us are told, don't even look up because then you look like a tourist. So there's definitely a different social behavior. So if you're telling me that these people lost their reception they don't know where they're going and they're just driving around. Like, I would never do that shit. No.
But this is what makes it Monday morning quarterbacking. Like when you watch,
I'm telling you the truth.
but this is what makes it Monday morning quarterbacking, because the implication, or not even the implication, the direct message that you're trying to convey is that if they had behaved the way you're socialized to behave, they would still be alive.
Bro,
so I mean,
again,
the point is that it's not productive.
I mean, look,
it's not productive. It's not productive as far as how can we prevent this from happening again, especially when because the implication is that it's their fault that they died, and the truth is you don't know that. I mean, even if you weren't walking around, it's not like the cartel. It's not like the cartel has never kidnapped people who weren't walking around. So I just think that I think that we
hold on.
Try not to talk over each other, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this last thing, and I'm gonna let Oni respond. I just think that the message we should be trying to convey is, Black women, you do not need to change your body, because just like you said, you are socialized to be afraid. Black women all over the world are socialized to be ashamed or hate their body. So I think that we should respond.
So they kids now, they babies.
Our response to this, yeah, from the time they're babies onward. And I think that our response to these types of incidents should be, Black women, you do not have to do this to get a man or impress your man. You do not have to do this to be loved and love yourself. And when you're traveling, and if you do choose to travel for whatever reason, you should always be careful. I don't think that we should address it as I would do this and this and this, and I would make it home.
So you said, so if I say, so you telling me I should tell a woman to be careful, but I don't know what being careful is.
Oh, I didn't say you don't know what being careful is, but you're not telling a woman to be careful. We're having a conversation about a Black woman and a Black man who lost their life, and you're saying if they had behaved like me, they would have been alive.
If you're not driving around gang territory without reception, without cell phone, like yeah, you're gonna be. I told you, my ex-girlfriend was in Mexico. She walked up on the cartel and they was ready to shoot her ass off.
But they didn't start shooting, so it's not the same situation as this. The situation literally is they get out the car, and they're barraged by bullets. A random Mexican woman died. A random Mexican woman died as well, who was a block and a half away. So these are high-powered military-grade weapons. And you get out the car, and people just start shooting at you because you're Black. The idea that there's something they could have done differently, or if they were from New York, they would have made it home. Like it's just not productive. It's the
all right.
There's a thing called wait, hold on a second. Let me say this. There's a thing called the butterfly effect, where one change can make everything different. That's the truth. Like life is not. Nothing is set in stone. So yes, you change a variable and everything is different. Absolutely.
And this is the last thing I'm gonna say.
You cannot change a variable and have a difference is fatalist and it's not realistic.
But this is what I'm gonna say, and we can move on. Looking back at these situations and trying to figure out which variable it could be, retroactively is the definition of Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yo, let me say one thing. If they didn't go to Mexico, would they still be alive?
No, not according to him.
No, that's what I'm asking. If they didn't go to Mexico, I don't understand. This brother is saying what Monday.
But that's Monday morning quarterbacking. You're choosing that retroactively.
Let me finish, bro.
This is the variable that would have kept them alive.
You just ask him a question and he answering your question.
Yeah, you said how is that Monday morning?
But it is not Monday night quarterbacking if there's examples of people going away to certain stuff and certain stuff happening to them. You don't. If they don't go get that butt surgery, all two men, both the two men are alive, or these people are alive. That's not Monday night quarterbacking. That's just facts.
Well, even if you think that's facts, retroactively going back and trying to choose the variable that would have kept them alive, especially when you place yourself in this situation or compare it to situations that are completely different. I mean, that's just the definition of Monday morning quarterback.
No, you got it. If you call it Monday night quarterbacking, I'm doing it all day. It was a dumb thing to do, and then I'm not saying it's a tragedy. Yes, that they died, but that was a dumb decision. She could have went to the gym, and as a husband,
but she didn't.
But she didn't. And she's gone
like that. But she didn't, and she's gone. And the fact of the matter is, more black women will be gone until we really address the issue that's causing it.
She's not dead. It's the two guys who were with her is dead, and that's what makes it bad for me.
I read that it was one man and one woman. Maybe I was incorrect.
No, there was no woman. No
Okay, so
woman.
it's just the two men?
It was 3 dudes, and two of them died, and they died senselessly. You know,
Yeah,
and that's the
point.
tragedy here.
That's what I find people are not talking about. A woman went for a BBL and got 2 guys caught up and killed.
But that's what I was talking about, Goku. Why is this exact? You're right. They're not talking about that. This Gasimov said this. Gasimov said, if you go in there to protect them, but you have no weapon, you go into a sketchy situation, but you have no weapon. What are we thinking about? The cartel will chop you up and hang your limbs for everybody to see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's
but
not
if
even
they had
about,
stayed here, but staying in America don't necessarily mean they would be alive. I wish they was like still, but they not. But being here, people get killed here every day, and we still look by racist folks, and we still look for reasons. Because I'm gonna just go back to my original point, and we
But that's
still
not,
look for
you're going
reasons.
to that point over and over again. But that's not the point of the thing.
I know, and I'm gonna keep going to it because y'all scared to touch on it, and we still look for reasons to try to figure out. Let's find all the evidence to show what they did wrong, and this is why they are dead, because they did all of this wrong. I've been in all those situations, man, and we can sit here, we can blame whoever and do whatever. At age 19, I was facing 20 years in prison, kick the door, hold a double-barrel shotgun and a motherfucker mouth. So all this stuff, man, this life folks talk about, I'm walking around with a bullet in me right now. I've been cut. It's been a whole lot, all this stuff we talking about, man, but then when you look to blame folks, because folks could, and I thank God my life flashed before my eyes when I was right there and I didn't pull that trigger. But we
gotta talk about that story. We gotta talk about that. I never had that shit.
We can look and we can blame whoever. People probably would have figured out a way to blame him. Well, what did he do to make him go up in that house and put that sawed off in his mouth? You understand what I'm saying? No, man. We got to start looking to know why are people getting killed? Why are people killing?
People like you.
You know what? I done lived this life my whole life, but at the same time, I've done stuff too. So, but why are we still looking? When I got shot, people looking. Well, what were you doing to get shot? That's what they asked me. What were you doing to get shot in the back? I was running from a motherfucker with a gun. That's what I was doing. That's how I got shot in the back. The story is a little bit longer, a little bit deeper than that. But what I'm saying is we always look for reasons to figure out how why the victim got victimized. We never look to see, we never look at the people that did it and say, what the hell? Another black person dead. We trying to conspiracy our way out of every damn thing. And the more I hear, it sounds like we're trying to conspiracy our way out of saying eventually black folks gonna have to get suited and booted, team up, and be ready to protect themselves.
Yeah, let me address that because we do have to move on to the next prompt. But let me just say, me personally, I think I do try to understand this conversation. I'll just say this and move on to the next prompt. I think there's potentially 2 different things being discussed here. I think if I know that a certain street is dangerous, for example, and I tell my kids don't ever walk down that street, I don't think, and they do, they end up walking down that street knowing what it is, and they get hurt or something. I don't think it's wrong with me to say, yo, didn't I tell you not to do that? Like, didn't I tell you about the dangers of that street? So I'm trying to figure out what is it that we can critique with black folks and what is it that we can't critique with black folks, all in the name of, this paradigm that we're in. Are we culpable in anything that we do? Like, is there anything we could criticize our people with? And I think that's something that I'm trying to get to the bottom of, but these conversations for some reason never really touch on that. But we'll try to bring this back up again. I got to move on to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4.
Let me say this quickly.
But you don't criticize people for
No. I'm going to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. There's nothing again about it. Shoot the Breeze topic number 4.
No, we gotta move. We gotta move, man. Let's move.
Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. Who is to blame